wants to be a part of it. I didn't have a question about Storm.
She doesn't like when...
Don't hit the thingy because it goes shaky, shaky. Y'all know Sean likes restless legs, but same difference.
What did I say? Lazy foot.
That's what you said, lazy foot. I was like, what?
I have lazy foot.
I'm always trying to make it better for you, babe, so that people don't think you're... No, you're always doing it for me. That's the...
Okay. Hey, Dawn. Arlene. Jamie was first today.
So how come... Oh, there's always got to be an animal that interrupts us when we go live. This time it's Storm. Most time it's Sawyer. He's chewing on whatever it was he was chewing on earlier. That makes a lot of noise.
And the other thing I noticed is even though that's shaking, it's not shaking here because there's kind of like an anti-shake.
An anti-shake?
It's an anti-shake and a lazy foot.
Oh my gosh. So let me just kind of open this. People are coming in and let me just tell you. Yep. I get so many clips sent to me about this topic. And it seems to, for 2 years, it's been going on and on and on. There was a day in court where it was found to be invalid, unfounded, but it keeps being something that the placeholder uses that is completely untrue, hoping to, I don't know, fool some of her new people, her new 12-year-olds that are there to watch her in a bath towel, convince them that it's true. There is no basis at all for her accusation that Sean was abusive. Furthermore, even the court said you've shown no proof, no pictures, no nothing, and so it's false. So I don't care about the other stuff she talks about. She talks about, wants to down him about his anatomy and everything. None of it's true. I'm telling you, none of it's true. But none of that matters. And this really doesn't matter either, except you finally are like, okay, well, we'll tell a story.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, and I'm going to say this first before I say the next thing. I care not anymore. I don't. And if I wasn't, doing a YouTube channel and I wasn't in the community that I am in, I would probably not know any of it was happening. And you guys know the gals that hang out with Mandi and talk in your little groups, I'm not in those groups. It's just you and whoever. But occasionally I get linked because I'm added. Megan. I'm like added in a text, or I'm added, like my Twitter is added. So I see some of the comments. And one of the comments I did see today, I was at lunch at work, and I had about 45-minute lunch, and I was out eating, and I saw where somebody had found and uploaded the whole state of North Carolina verse.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing that had come of that. And so it caught my attention, so I read it. And I mean, it's a document that they were forced to produce.
From 2021.
It was recent. It was recent. And it was one that the state was forced to lately, just in the recent past, construct about the whole case. And the thing that just had me going, was that the whole argument by the defendant, and we know who the defendant was the basis for her actions and the way she behaves the way she did was because she was being treated similar in her situation, and she had reactions and acute reactions to her long-standing abusive relationship that she was in. And I was just kind of like, wow. I mean, she's milking that, and she's got it in this whole dissertation. The thing that struck me about it was that these are the same court people, the same, officials, the judges, or whoever's reading this, where half of the time, about a third of the time that she was fighting this case, I was sitting there with her. I was there. And all of a sudden, so somehow in the middle of her case, she switches her dissertation that her actions was the result of an abusive relationship.
Thank you, iSpot. Yes.
So
that's recent. Now, what's interesting about that is she's making them do that in that same Onslow County courthouse. Let me take this out. In that same Onslow County courthouse that she was found to be unfounded when she filed her domestic assault charges against Sean. Unfounded, dismissed. She's going to turn around and say that's the basis. So go ahead and get laughed at, placeholder.
Well, the thing that struck me that made me go, wow. I mean, what made me kind of understand the lack of any kind of whatever, I don't know, emotion or what thought process is what she's trying to convince a court, a judge, a jury, a bunch of bailiffs of this story when I sat there with her. Like, so she changed her whole thing, like mid-argument. And so that just kind of struck me. It was weird to me to read that, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know the bailiffs.
No, you're right.
I know the judge.
I see all of your comments coming in of support that Sean's finally saying something. You know, it's like, okay, we'll put it out there. So the poll, can someone tell me which one actually won the poll? I mean, because we said we're going to have a few laughs, so we are going to have to tell two, because if it is the Fayetteville VA one, that's not so funny.
Which is the one that when the poll was made, I was hoping that one would win, because the other ones are just, I mean, we can drag shit out of her. I mean, those were stupid things she's done, but the VA thing was the thing that affected me the most. I mean, they all affected me, but that was the one that sort of contradicts her whole story. You know, she, she's still, I mean, I watched Seabreeze's
Hey, let it go.
little video, the vlog that she did where she went into the thrift shop and the story that the thrift shop owner told, you know, about, you know, how she got herself through some, you know, I think in that one she was married to somebody with, you know, PTSD and all that. So
I'm gonna let you tell it, but let's see, she didn't. They denied the filing. Okay, so Maria, I'm sorry, we can't go back into the history of how this whole thing happened, but someone will get with you and tell you exactly what happened with that. That's not how it happened. I want to like this story. She has told this story before, like she was some sort of hero, that she had him at the VA hospital. She said, it's like a dog, you need to fix him. I would take my dog to the pound if he was, you know, whatever. So here, I'm bringing my veteran.
And we know that she does worse than that to the dogs. So.
Right. And so I'm gonna let him tell it, but this is the story that she tells, like she was some sort of at the end of her rope. Please help me, you guys. Please help me. I don't know what to do with my veteran. And with that, I'll let Sean tell the story. Yeah. Now,
the precursor to that is during this this time frame, she was trying to get, and those of y'all that know about the VA, she was trying to get status as my caretaker. She was trying to get status where she could get paid.
Which is possible.
Which is possible to do. And I'm not sure exactly how that did not come about, but I went to one appointment at the VA, and I was getting a physical, and she was at another appointment trying to get this status done. And they denied her.
Kind of hustle that money, as usual. Go ahead.
Yeah, she wanted to paint me as unable to take care of myself at all. And so she wanted to get paid for that. And she got denied that. She was denied it. So she was upset. And I will say, we were arguing. We weren't getting along that day. And but what she did, I'll let you guys decide if this was warranted, what she did. Because couples argue, right? We get irritated. People get irritated.
And how far is Fayetteville?
Fayetteville is about 100 miles
from North Topsail, where you were staying.
Yeah,
okay,
85 to 100 miles. It's
okay.
Yeah. So we were out in Fayetteville at the VA. So I'm going through I'm in my appointment, and I'm getting my physical done, and I started to notice as I'm getting my physical that the nurse would leave, and she'd kind of talk to the doctor, and they're kind of milling around outside, and then they'd come in and they'd check on me, and then the doctor would tend to me a little bit, and then they would. But there was definitely something else that was going on besides my appointment that was going on outside the room. And so I continued with my appointment, and when I was finishing up, the nurse or the PA or whoever it was that was finishing up with me is like, yes, have you gotten in touch with your wife? And I was like, yeah, sure, she's been out there doing whatever. And they're like, oh, no, but have you gotten in touch with her recently? And I was like, well, no, because I'm in here. I'm doing my appointment. And they're like, oh, well, she left. And so what do you mean? And she said, she left. She said that we could have you, that she was no longer, she couldn't get her caretaker status. They didn't care about her. And if she couldn't get the caretaker status, then they could have me. That she no longer wanted me and that they could have me, that I could just stay at the VA. So,
and it wasn't it wasn't an inpatient facility.
No, I was just at an appointment.
Right, it was just an appointment.
So I was like, oh, and they're kind of, the doctors and nurses at the VA, they deal with acute bullshit like this. That they have to. So they were like, all right, we got, so I'm stuck. I'm at the VA. So I have my phone and I'm trying to call her and she doesn't answer her phone and she's just like, I'm done. She's driving back to North Topsail Beach and she left me at the Fayetteville VA. I didn't have any money at the time. I had my wallet, but she took off with the cars and I'm there, a veteran at the VA. So that's what she did. And I guess, what did she say? She said that, what do? You leave when you can no longer take care of your animal, you take them to the pound, you leave them there. She also said if you can't take care of a baby, you take them to the fire station or something like that.
Yeah.
Then that's what I'm doing. I can no longer take care of them. And if you think about it, that's what she does when she was discarding me at that point. She was discarding me. Narcissist discard. This was the discard. She could not get what she wanted. She could not get her way. So she was in the discard. So she also said something about me, just keep him, he can go inpatient or something like that. That wasn't an inpatient intake. So I'm downstairs in the outpatient part of the VA and they really don't know what to do with me. And I'm kind of upset, and they're trying to figure out what to do. It was sort of unprecedented. It was too late to get me a bus ticket because they do that at the VA. They'll get you a bus ticket. They will figure out accommodations for you, but they had no grounds to put me up in a hotel. They couldn't put me on a bus. I was basically told that I could stay in the waiting room of the ER portion of the VA or I had to leave and I was just basically on the street.
And they were closing.
So I had to go. So I was left. So there's that. A very, very, then an amazing thing happened. Veterans take care of veterans. They do. So as I'm sitting there was this black guy. He was probably, I say at the time, I had to put 2000. I'm 45 at the time, 44, 45. This man is a 65-year-old Vietnam veteran. And he's kind of sitting there listening to this whole thing. And he says, he kind of got the 80% of it. So he was like, where do you got to go? I said, well, I got to go to, at that point I lived in Jacksonville. And he said, okay. He said, well, I'm going to Wilmington. I can take you to Wilmington. And I said, well, that's 40 miles from Jacksonville. That's close. Yeah. So this veteran, in the middle of the night from Fayetteville, puts me in his car, an old beat up Plymouth Volare, and we start heading to Wilmington.
What time was it by this time?
It's probably 10 o'clock at night, 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. And we get, and he drives, and he's trying to keep my spirits up. And this time, I'm frazzled. I'm like, what the fuck? She's gone. She'd left me. So I'm on my way to Wilmington with this guy. So he takes me to the Wilmington bus station. We get there, it's probably midnight or so when we get there, a couple hours later. We stopped at Wendy's on the way. He bought me Wendy's.
Oh, that's all. I was going to say, you hadn't eaten.
Yeah, I hadn't eaten or anything. And this guy, you could tell he didn't have much. And he was getting a per diem to drive to Fayetteville for his appointment that day. And he was driving back to Wilmington. So we get to Wilmington, and I go to the bus station, but there is no bus. They're kind of closed for the night, and the waiting room of the bus station, you can wait in a bus station if you want, but there was no bus from Wilmington to Jacksonville till about 5:30. So I thanked the guy, and he said, "You all set?" I said, "Yeah, I'll get the bus in about 5.5 hours." And I went into the bus stop and I sat down. About 10 minutes later, he's knocking on the window and he said, "Come on." He said, "I'm taking you to Jackson. I'll take you home from Wilmington." And that's what he did. And so he drives me up Highway 17. You guys that know that, Jacksonville, North Topsail Beach, and it's about 40 miles or so. He drives me to, I lived at that point, those of you that are familiar with the area, the Verona area, neighborhood of Jacksonville, which is right off 17 before you get to New River Air Base. And he gets it to be about a block and a half from my house, and I tell him to stop because the lights have come on a little bit, and I'm like, "You need to drop me off here because I don't want you to get caught up in any drama." So he was like, "No, I'll pull you." I said, "No, you need to drop." So he drops me about a block and a half in the middle of my neighborhood, and I thank him. I had no money to give him. He said, "Don't worry." By this time, it's about, I don't know, it's got to be about 1:30 in the morning, and he's going to turn around and go to Wilmington. He had stuff to do at 6 in the morning. This is veterans helping veterans. I had nothing in common with this man at all, except for the fact that he was a veteran. Okay, so I get home. She's not home. So
where was she?
She was at somewhere. She wasn't home, and so I can't sleep. I can't do anything, and I'm wide awake. So I just grab my fishing gear and I go to the fishing pier. I go to North Topsail Beach to Seaview Pier, and I'm gonna fish because I know I have friends there. So I go do that, and so I had posted a couple things on Facebook, like I made it home, and I'm fishing. At the pier. I guess she saw that, so she sends me a text and said, "Don't come home." And so I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, she's like, "Don't come home." So I about 8:30. I guess it was about 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I go home, and when I get there, there is a cop already there. So he comes out and he's trying to, I kind of tell him the story, and I have done nothing wrong.
Nothing.
I have done nothing wrong at this point. He knows I've done nothing wrong. And she comes out of the house and she gets in the car, in the other car we had, and this is the crazy thing about how we did our finance. So we had one car and we had a rental car, and she would just rent the car and keep renting it every 2 weeks. That's how we lived.
I didn't know that.
And she gets in the car and she drives off, and so I'm there by myself, and the cop is trying to be as neutral as he can be with me. And he says to me, I said, "She's going down to the magistrate." He goes, "I'll stay right here if you want to get anything out of the house." But I said, she told me that, the cop said she told me she was going to pick up y'all's daughter from school. She's not doing that. She's going down to try to get to the magistrate to try to get, and the police officer just would look me in the eye. He said, "I'll stay here as long as you want me to while you get your stuff." So
Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
April
So
the 16th?
I got everything that I could pack into the car that we had. It was a little SUV. It was a little Santa Fe that we had at the time, and I had nowhere to go, so I just started driving to Atlanta. And I drove all the way to Atlanta, and this was probably the third or fourth time my parents, I just come through my door,
help me.
Yeah. So okay, Sawyer's looking up at me like.
And you still haven't slept, right?
No, I haven't slept yet. So I get home and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my dad, and it takes me it's probably about an 8 or 9 hour drive to get to where I was going. So I get there, and I'm just sitting there talking to my parents. They're letting me know everything's going to be okay and this and that. And my phone rings, and it is the cops. It is the believe it was the sheriff. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was the sheriff, 'cause I think those are the ones that were where we lived at the time. It was the sheriffs that handled it. And he asked me where I was. You know, he had to serve me with something. And I told him I was in Georgia, and he was like, really? And I said, yeah, I drove to Georgia. I kind of gave a rundown of everything. And he said what he was looking at, I believe what he was looking at was a no contact order that she had gotten signed and a simple assault charge. Where I would have had to appear.
And he wasn't there.
I wasn't even there. And the cop kind of figured out based on how she did the timeline. He said, how long does it take to get to Georgia? And I said, well, it takes about 9 hours to get to Georgia. He said, there's no way that you could have done the things that were said that you did and get to where you were by car. It doesn't make sense. So he said, you're in Georgia. I said, yes, sir. And I guess they know where you are. I mean, I guess they can figure it out on the phone or whatever if they want to. And he said, I want you to do me a favor. He said, whatever you do, just stay gone for 10 days. And I said, well, I don't know when I'm going to come back or this or that. So whatever you do. And the Jacksonville police didn't really know us yet. The North Topsail police and the Sneads Ferry police knew us. Yeah. Well, Sneads Ferry doesn't have police, but the North Topsail knew us. But they didn't really know us in Jacksonville yet. So he just said, whatever you do, just wait 10 days. And I said, okay. And he said, yeah, because after 10 days, we can just return these, like, they'll be no good after 10 days. And because he knew, so that's what happened. And that was probably, I don't know how many times I had been through that. And I would go through it a couple more times before I finally stayed gone, you know. So that's the story. I know it gets told very differently, the VA story. That's my side of it. That's my version of it. That's what they wanted to hear. So,
yeah, that would be a whole, everybody's like, you know, you should have stopped paying rent and this and that. That's a whole episode in itself of being a victim of a narcissist. I mean, victim sounds bad, and I know you guys were like, that's depressing. So I do want to give y'all kind of a funnier story, and then we'll sign off.
I want to go ahead and, you know, apply that to some of the other things that go on. And one other thing that has happened. So when you're dealing with relationships where someone is being abused or something, it's a narcissistic thing or whatever, however you want to call it, not a very functional, dysfunctional or whatever. And you look at some of the other people that have some of the other relationships. That's why when that thing happened with this BKK girl and this dude, this douchebag, that's why it didn't surprise me one bit when she ended up back with him. Not at all.
And I have to say, I was shocked. I was shocked. Everybody else was warning me, you know, don't get invested in this. She's going back. Don't get invested in this.
Yep. And that's why she will continue to make excuses for we don't know what we're talking about and that she's all in with that. And I'm not advocating for her for not. It's just a perfect example of those types of dysfunctional relationships that she will leave that type of relationship when she's been hurt enough.
Yeah.
When she's been hurt enough, when she's had enough, she'll leave.
I see your support. The one thing Sean does is always watch.
I haven't read any of the comments.
But he watches the replay, so he'll see it all. Someone said, how did she get that order of that first restraining order, the only one that worked because they got wise to her? How did she get that?
She went right down. They didn't know her.
They didn't know her.
And the thing, I was a little bit surprised about that because that was post the situation with Crystal Ehart.
Oh, I thought that was before.
No, that was after. We left the condo and no.
She
You're
had
absolutely
you arrested
right.
when you were in a flashback.
Yes.
And did nothing.
Yeah, this happened before the Crystal Ehart thing. That's right. So at this particular moment, that was the first time that they didn't know. And I'm telling you, in North Carolina, the people, anyone that lives in that state will tell you, they will go down. And this is not to drum up the thing that happened with the cyber stalking that happened with Crystal, that case with Crystal and Trisha. They granted that to Crystal too. They didn't. They didn't need anything more
North
than
Carolina
her
is
word.
very broken.
And,
their legal system
yes.
is very broken.
So she was able to very easily get the same type of warrant. Matter of fact, how easily was she able to get a summons for Mandy and I to have to fly across the United States during the pandemic last year. Our counsel sat us down and said it's very, very easy in North Carolina for somebody to get that to happen, can get a warrant or a subpoena that way in that state. And my next question that's even more disconcerting is, okay, so we've gone through this. So now you see the same person with me. You've heard that story. You know the story that's happened with me and Mandy, what happened last year. Same person, right? Had 2 different cases dragging people out there. What's to stop them from doing it again? From just going down there again? And the answer was there's nothing to stop them. Nothing to stop them from doing it again. The only thing that will stop them is their reputation. Once they've seen them enough times, then they will stop.
Well, the other thing is she wouldn't be able to file the type she filed again because y'all are no longer married. The only reason she got the only reason she got that particular order, and the only reason she tried to take it out on me is because of my relationship with him. Again, middle of a pandemic, we went in, our attorney cleaned her plate, and the judge admonished her, told her to get her tail out, basically. And I have, if you look up under, I think it's the ATX videos, it's called perjury. It's what the placeholder does. I have the documents on that show that it was unfounded. There was one other thing I was going to ask about that. I think that's it. I do think that I know you kind of like summarize it, but can you tell the Providence story?
Wow, that was a long
when
time
the boobs
ago.
came up.
Yeah, we weren't even married then.
It's funny. Y'all will like it.
I mean, she's just, you have people you have alcoholics. I know they drink, they can't stop drinking. Then you have people that just shouldn't drink. And
I'm both.
you know the person that you see, and you might see them walking around at a party, and if they don't have a drink in their hand and they're sober, they're tolerable. But then if you see the same person at the party and they're clutching an alcoholic beverage, you're like, oh hell no, because at some point during that evening.
Oh, they've seen it. I think y'all seen it.
At some point during the evening that they're probably gonna be the center of something. So what happened there was I was actually at drill, and she was at some friends, and they started drinking. I think it was Jaeger is what they were drinking that night. And so when I got off of work, I went over, and the party was already going on, and they had already been drinking, and she got, really, really drunk and was undressing and doing,
Let's
at a
clarify.
Party.
Boyfriend at the party, undressing. Okay, go ahead.
So at first it was pretty amusing to everybody. They're like, oh yeah, sorry dude, but you're gonna get, naked. But then after a while, they were like, you just need to take her.
You need to take her.
You need to go ahead and take her.
She didn't want to go, right?
She didn't want to go, but I got some help, got her in the car, and we were driving home, and we got to somewhere in Providence, and at a red light, all of a sudden, front door open, out she goes out into the night, out into the Providence.
Boobs
night.
out.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet. And see if I can remember all of this. This is a while ago, because there was police there. They were in some parking lot already, because this was down in downtown Providence. And she was running around and was getting more and more animated, and then the shirt came off. And so I'm on the scene. I pull the car over, and I'm out there trying to corral her, I guess.
She's trying to find Jesus in a street light.
And I'm looking at the cop, and the cop is kind of like, who are you? And I'm like, well, I'm her boyfriend. He says, I'm going to give you about 4 minutes. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes.
And she's like, them lopsided things are.
And that's kind of what happened. And they gave me about 4 minutes. I guess they called the ambulance, and it showed up. And they restrained her, and they transported her to a hospital via ambulance. and she was making quite a scene in the emergency room, and they would not let me stay. They said you can stay with her if you can keep her under control, but I couldn't. And so they took her up to wherever for her to sleep it off. And apparently that night, I guess one of the nurses or the night nurses was this Hispanic dude, and apparently she had some really racial things that she said to the guy, and so he handled her quite roughly that night.
Handled her.
Yeah.
So why Sean has never been guilty of it, the random orderly.
Yeah. Did not like being called.
So y'all can take satisfaction in that.
Yeah, he did.
And then
he did
Sean
not like
took up for it. When
the
he
racial
found out,
slurs
when
against
you found out what
Hispanics,
happened, you were ready to beat the guy's ass, right?
I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to believe because But anyway, so there's that story too.
So, yeah, there's that. We are going to sign off in a second, but I just like to say, we don't do this very often. Sean, you could tell Sean had a hard time telling that story. So
she just needs to shut up.
She just needs to shut up. I don't care.
Every once in a while,
see,
the way that I look at this is that I ignore it. I ignore it. And there's a gang of y'all that are so good to us. And
we owe y'all that every once in a while.
At some point, because there's going to be people that come to me and say, Sean, why? Just don't, and don't do this, and you shouldn't, and it doesn't do any good. And at some point, you just have enough. You've had enough. There's really nothing more.
The 200 of you that are watching right now, I guarantee you most of them have at some point said, okay, I get y'all take the high road, but Sean, just tell your part, right? Just say your part. Those are just two of the stories. And I think y'all are pretty good. I'm looking at the list of people that are in here. Y'all are pretty good at you can tell what's bullshit. You're saying that most of what she says is obviously bullshit, but if you watch the way that he tells these stories, you can tell that they're absolutely true.
I wanted to make sure that I was tired and really not all amped up, because sometimes when I do a vlog or I get on a live stream, I'm like and I didn't want to be full of fluff, because just shut up, man.
That's all you gotta do is shut up.
Just move off of it, because it is nobody believes you.
Nobody believes you.
I can ignore it for so long, but we have friends that have my back, and they're good to us, and I can there was a group of people, and
I see
two people that always, there's two faces that are always that I see, and there's more than just these two, but the two people that and there's one right there, Karen. There's two of them, Karen and Loretta. Now Karen and Loretta were supported Trisha when I was there, and if you remember, and then when I left, Karen and Loretta, it's their story. I'm not going to tell their whole story, but they tried their best to be my friend and still try to be her friend. But long story short, those two and a few others kind of eventually just rode out with me when I left the situation, and they know a lot of this history, and they've had their own experience with her. And so what has happened, and seeing as these are mostly these are girls, is that they've all become your good friends. They become Mandi's good friends. That's kind of the more appropriate thing. And I'm not really in.
Hey, Michaela.
I'm not really in their chats. They have their little Twitter DM groups and stuff like that. I'm not really in them. But I know what Mandi tells me, and I know some of the things that bother people, and and I felt like I owe every once in a while. For once, I said, okay, I'm compelled to go ahead and just give an explanation for some things. So, but I wanted to make sure that I was really grounded when I did it. It's probably good now that I work as long and hard as I do, because I'm not real. If I have any emotion at all, it's going to be more of a sad emotion than an angry emotion. I mean, anger and sadness are kind of the same. You know, when you, it's the same base emotion. You guys probably can name the emotion, but it can manifest itself as sadness or it can manifest itself as anger. Yeah. And I would rather manifest it as sadness than as anger. You know, that's something that you've got to learn to do. Yeah. So.
I love you.
I love you. So blah, 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 blah.
No,
blah.
but I mean, I think it was good. You know what? And she can, it's just move on. Stop with the abuse bullshit. If it earns you PayPals, that's fine. I did want to ask something else, and I'm going
to look at the
I don't know for sure, Donna Baldwin, Massapequa Danya, I'm not going to, it appears that she is now a pretty big fan of Trisha's, and
Storm's here now. She's
I wonder, because whenever she would send messages of support for us from her and her husband, I find it hard to believe that she would turn like that. So I hope she watched tonight, because the same truth, oh my God, the same truth that was true before is still true. She's not someone that you need to support morally, financially.
The things that you told us that she did to you.
Yeah.
And the way that it had affected your family and the way that it affected your husband.
I just don't understand.
It's the only thing that I can chalk it up to, because sometimes, quite honestly, when you're in a YouTube community, people are here because they give attention and they like attention. And sometimes when they don't get the attention that they want or that they think they deserve from one group, they'll just move to another group. It's just unfortunate when they move on to a group that they have said had hurt them so badly.
That was just my sincere question
it was really,
for her.
Yeah.
That's my sincere question.
I'm gonna move her down.
When I found out, I was like, what? What? You don't have to hate her forever, but really? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, that's all I was asking. But we are gonna take off. I know it wasn't exactly a upbeat thing, but the part of it, maybe hopefully you don't have to get into it again, but when she gets intoxicated, she thinks Jesus is in every street light, right? Well, anything that has a light, she thinks Jesus is in it, and she wants to talk to.
We can save that one.
We'll save that for the full
round.
story.
I'm just going back into. Hey, Michaela.
Again.
How's Preston doing, Michaela?
You're so sweet. Oh, you really are, and I'm not just saying that. Do y'all want to see my outfit of the day? I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I was going to jump up on the chair and start being like, want to see my outfit of the day? I got a white t-shirt.
Here's the comment. BP said, Sean, you're abused mentally, psychologically, and I'm sure at times physically. My heart goes out to you. Glad you're so happy now. You deserve it. It's part of me not talking about it is I don't like to go back to it. You know, I don't like to. And there's so many times where I see, and Mandi knows this, and I get on the brink a lot because you guys, there's some of y'all that will get in there and figure some things out, and then a narrative comes out or a story gets told, and I go, wow, that's about 80% the truth, you know? And I don't mean that to criticize anybody, but people are getting pretty good at figuring out what's right. It's like finding certain faces the other day and me going, yeah, that's such and such, and that's like, wow, these people are finding these people out. Wow, that's a blast, you know, or whatever.
Thank you.
One of the things that I've always said is that it's so hard to give any credibility to like the drama community for anything that we talk about, because all you got to do is get one thing wrong, or not, the narrative is just not perfectly right, and it really isn't credible. As far as like when we talk about like suing people, you know, oh, Diane's going to go to jail for this or for that, but people don't, when we have so many channels out there like The Porch or whatever that spin a version of it that's just not true. Beth. And so it's like that for everything.
I think Caped Crusader was kidding. He said, nice head of hair that Silver Fox has. Caped Crusader sometimes doesn't like me, but it appears that was supposed to be a compliment. That's good. Someone, this right here, the one I had pinned earlier was absolutely the truth. Everyone's kind of figured out that Bill is code for Sean.
Oh, is that? Oh, Bill.
Yeah, and
Beth, I didn't see that Beth did.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you,
did.
Beth. So glad to see you back and looking so happy. Beth, has she been in here the last couple nights, or is she just catching up?
No, I think she just no, but sometimes
Thank you, Beth.
everyone doesn't talk every stream, but I think
Yeah.
this one there's a lot of people. I'm seeing they're saying I don't normally talk, but I just want to stick my 2 cents in. Y'all are great together and whatever. When I say this all the time, what you see is exactly how it is. I adore and love Sean. I'm just as protective of him as he is over me. I've learned how to separate the drama from being the drama with YouTube and the placeholder and all of that with the real life drama. And it would be one thing if it was only YouTube drama, but again, she filed a civil court proceeding against me.
Right.
So don't ask why I'm your mouthpiece, why I'm his mouth. I'm not his mouthpiece.
Right.
You involved me in it.
Right.
And you got laughed at.
Yep, she got laughed at. And so if there was kind of that argument, and then Mandi knew that when she was when we started to live together and we came out together, that this some degree of bullshit was going to involve her. And when the day that the Williamson County Constable, it was the very same day, and this is another thing that I always say, you have certain YouTubers out there that they feel the need to tell everything every time someone sends them a bad email, and every time someone comes to their door, every time something happens.
Hey, Puddin'.
The day that the Williamson County Constable came to the door with that paperwork for Mandi and I, at the same time, Randy was live. It was the Brian St. John thing when she thought Brian St. John had done something. It was during the middle of that afternoon. Remember that? It was during that live stream when Randy was talking about that there was a knock on our door. And I'd say to Mandi, and she agrees, is that we don't tell anybody when this happens.
I read it and we didn't put it online. I looked at it and went,
But people, if they knock on our door, we're not going to tell you guys that it happened. But
Gus Art, I do know you. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead.
and that's what we do so well for each other. Like she has things that she'll read and she'll start to get spun up and she's about to lose her mind from it. And I'm like, no. We're not going to do that. We're going to just sit back. Not real. That, not real.
Right.
This, real. And same thing. I'm like, I'm going to do a vlog and I'm going to do it. No. That's dumb. That's not real.
But no, I've never said
Not like
it's
that,
dumb.
but
I've
you know
just
what I
said,
mean. It's
I'm like,
we real.
right.
This, not real. And that's one of the big advantages of.
Hey, Tammy.
That's what happens when you hook up with another OG.
Okay.
We know.
Yeah, that's why earlier when she was like, is this the couple that he left her for the biggest hater or whatever? I was like, I can't even get into that right now, but you need to back it up. But then I was like, if you found us, you know more of the story than that, right?
Yeah,
because
it's true.
how would you find us when you're just casually heard the other story? That doesn't add up. We've been around for a while. Is there anything else?
I don't know. I don't know, guys. What else do you guys want to talk about before?
Shannon is another one.
What
I
happens
gotta
at
be
the
honest,
beach?
I always liked Shannon,
Shannon
even when we
says-
weren't.
She says, what happens at the beach stays in the police report.
I like that. And we
I
will
won't
be
let
there.
Mandi be the only sober person. Yeah.
I'm always he and I are always the designated drivers because
I know Myrtle Beach pretty well. I've spent some of these tattoos are from
everybody
Myrtle Beach.
leaves Myrtle Beach with a tattoo and broke. That's how you leave. And a
That's it.
sunburn sometimes.
You have an excuse if you show back up somewhere and you got a black eye or some messed up tattoo or you're limping.
Hey, you can't say that.
You just tell them you were at Myrtle Beach and then you can get away with it.
Abe said you've got some big jugs. I just noticed that. They're real.
Yes,
they're the
sir.
same size and they're in the same.
Yes, sir.
They're in the same zip code. There's that. Anyway, we do have to go. We're both working tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you did that. And if she can see it to shut her mouth, then we won't go into the. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think people
We
realize
won't, this is it. We're not going to talk about it.
what Shannon said it before, and I love Shannon for it because she's good at. If anyone's in here that doesn't listen to Shannon, listen to her. Go
She's
over there and
good.
listen to her because she does OG shit
Yeah.
really well. She talks about people really well. It's funny even when she's dragging the hell out of somebody, but she said it. She said, Sean, you could have built a whole channel and put hundreds of people in your chat whenever you left that situation just talking about her. You could have built a whole channel off it, and I didn't do that. I didn't want to. I never wanted to. She's part of the reason because I met her, and I am not going to spend,
Yes.
any amount of time on something when I should be spending it on her. So that's the main reason that, I'm not going to disrespect you,
Yeah, and
Or
I'm
your
going to keep
judge.
defending you.
Or your big judge.
And I'm going to keep, shoot. It's like when people get on me for defending you. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do. You know what I mean? Like, so.
We need to come on tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the last.
Tomorrow we'll come on with some drama shit or something like that.
If he told the story the way that he told it the first time about the boobs were out, you would have died.
Yeah, I'm in a really different state of mind right
let him
now,
retell
but-
it again. But hey, Sin, everybody comes in. I'm like, oh, I think that was that was it. I'm sure she's not pleased with it, but you know what? Turnabout's fair play.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that
You don't
when
like
you're,
it,
when
don't
you're
do it.
dealing with, we throw the word
Yes,
narcissist
lavender.
around. We throw that around a lot. Whenever somebody does something snarky or really shitty, we label it. But narcissism has clear patterns. One of the things about okay.
No, I'm just saying. I wasn't telling you that.
No. One of the things about it is you have to understand that even the negative attention they feed off of, even when they're getting drugged, even when they get someone is telling them negativity or telling stories like this is fuel.
And
That's another reason I don't like to do it. I don't like to give any fuel.
This is a previous source of supply
Yeah.
right here. And she'll still use it for supply if she can. If she can. She's using this as
Yeah.
supply.
This will be. And
Sorry,
I
I
say
know
it
we're
all the
bouncing.
time. Now we're boo, 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 boo. But that is another reason is
Yes.
you just gotta freeze them out, and you just gotta stop. The only way that you can get anybody that craves attention to go away, especially in the drama communities, is to stop talking about them. Don't watch them and don't talk about them.
All I can say about those waterworks that she's been turning on lately, they must pay PayPal. That's all I can think of because it is nonstop. I could have sat here and turned on the waterworks tonight and been like, oh, it's so, and you know what? Whatever. It's fake. It's fake. So
Yep.
that's all it is. It's fake. It's there. You can't trust anything that comes out of that.
No.
And anybody that's OG that's watched it for any length of time knows that.
At the bottom line, the very last thing is in any kind of relationship like that, when they've hurt you
Yes.
enough, it's like, remember when I did my vlog way back about the tiger? It's a tiger,
We were already together.
why don't you, it's a tiger, okay, so leave it alone. But when you get hurt enough, when you grab the burner enough and it burns you enough, you'll leave it alone.
Okay, can someone pin Shannon's parody of TT in here? I think y'all should all be able to. I didn't see it until a few months ago. I didn't catch it when it first came out. It is probably it's definitely the funniest one she's ever done, and they're all funny. But as far as parodies go, oh my God, it is. Do you remember that one? She rips. Anyway, I'm not gonna say it, but watch it. Oh my gosh. Hey, Dumpster Clips. Let it go. Yeah, the stuttering, that's fake. All of that's fake. But it is, for sure, completely.
Just shut up.
Just shut up.
Just,
Just shut up.
it's so much different than, another YouTuber somewhere else in this state that's blabbing away about some of us. You can just go, you can have fun with them. Somewhere.
And I'm going to say this because Karen and Loretta love this. I've got him squared away. Completely squared away. He's good. So you just work on moving on. I got this.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
And stop. So anyway, we are going to sign off. But thank
All right.
you guys. Did someone put the y'all can drop the link to her parody in here. Thank you for your support. He will see all of your comments when he goes back and watches it.
Yeah, I'm really
No.
I'm really vain, so I like to listen to myself talk.
He
so
does
I'm
like.
gonna go back.
We've had this question 3 times. I know you've answered it before. Is she allergic to black pepper?
Not any more or less than anybody else would. You know, it's
Not anaphylaxis.
No.
Okay.
It's anaphylaxis. No.
Okay. You're looking for it. Y'all, the chat should stay up for a second after we sign off. It's easy for the average person to control themselves and stop negative attention. I don't think she's able to. She can't. Mm-mm. She can't. And
that's the downside of this stream tonight, is that this is just fuel. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all it is. It's different than dragging the porch or dragging, or going at it with Bombshell or somebody else and going back and forth with them.
Yeah, I don't address Bombshell.
It's totally.
I understand
totally
she's playing
different.
our stuff. I don't mess with her. She's in the league with Spirit Finder. I can't.
The only thing I would want to know is why
I can't. Neither one of them. Yeah.
They should call her trainer.
Thank you, Karen.
Anyway.
Yeah, I just can't with her. I mean, what can you say? She nods off in her own stream.
I mean,
I can't.
She's literally
been falling out of her chair.
No, but yeah, I know. But we talked about no one's ever going to get arrested or go to jail. She said, "Hold my beer. I'm going to go ahead and get arrested and get convicted of cyber crimes."
I am going to update the Amazon wish list either tonight or tomorrow morning. I feel like bad because I need to update it, and I've told you I would, and then I feel like funny, like but I'm gonna do it tonight. Sean says lots of baseball cards. He says anything ATX puts in there, ignore it.
Yep.
We need baseball cards.
Mm-hmm. Mike Trout or Ronald Acuna.
Oh my God, I love you. Okay,
love you.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for being here. We had 200 people when it maxed out.
3 nights in a row.
Yes.
So the person that says that we wouldn't do 4.
Yeah. And to Shannon's point, we had topped out at 200 tonight, and we didn't clickbait anything too much. No. Just Sean Speaks is what I changed it to. Mm-hmm. So imagine that many's not gotten in that stream because everybody's heard everything she has to say, and they're 12. They're 12 years old. So when she's got a towel on, I'm gonna go ATX just for a second. When she's got a bath towel on, who freaking starts a live stream in a bath towel on the regular? That's so weird, especially when you know it's 12-year-olds, prepubescent boys that are in your chat and you know it.
They can't even.
Weird.
They can't even afford your OnlyFans. They got to go steal their dad's credit card.
Right, and then their dad takes a look at it and goes, ugh.
And then their dad's in trouble, and then another married man's in trouble.
And then you got to get therapy. It's just the whole thing.
So. Anyway.
It's weird, right? I mean, I don't understand coming on half naked. Like,
just stop.
I'm over my ex-husband, and anyway, then starts crying about whatever.
It's not for kids.
It's not for kids. That was Gigi. I don't know where Gigi is.
Where's Gigi at?
Yeah, he needs to go to bed. Yeah, that's what I said. If I wanted to drag her, I could drag her.
I'm wide awake now because I drank these.
He's not awake. He's gonna take a bath and go to bed. Okay, you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for
listening.
You tomorrow.
Try not to think we'll be here tomorrow. We're gonna be here tomorrow.
Just shut the fuck up.
Just shut up. Just shut up.
Shut up. Shut up.
You're sexy. Okay, bye, you guys.